cut out all colonial ingredients, so there's no dairy or flour or sugar.
So we're one of the first and only Indigenous restaurants in the country. We're completely decolonized, so we don't have any beef, pork, chicken, no dairy, gluten, or soy.
How do you?
Yeah.
Is that table 12?
On them.
Yeah.
Table 12?
Yeah. That which one is table 12?
Oh, right there.
So it's understanding Native American agriculture, seed saving, plant identification, and understanding how it can grow with your environment and utilize all these plants for food and medicine and crafting. I grew up on Pine Ridge Reservation. We were Lakota, just like a lot of people there. I remember us harvesting chokecherries, throughout my childhood. And I can just remember the smell of the chokecherry sauce cooking on the stove. And we hunted a lot growing up, got a lot of grouse and pheasants and ducks and geese when in season.
What are you getting here?
This is just balsam fir, and the sap is so good because it's antiseptic, so you can use it like super glue on cuts. And it's also, it's a fire starter even when wet. One of my first big jobs here was at a fresh pasta place in South Minneapolis, and just started to learn a lot starting from there. And then my career just took me through all sorts of twists and turns. So running Spanish restaurants, running Japanese restaurants, running just American bistros and farm to table kind of things. And it was pretty fun. I guess I was just very curious about the Indigenous community that was there. It reminded me of a lot of growing up with my Lakota family, kind of like my distant cousins, and all of a sudden realized that I knew very little about my own heritage food, even though I discovered so much about so many other cultures, especially European cuisines. My ancestors would have had a really large knowledge of plants and how to harvest them, when to harvest them, which parts to harvest. And so I had to try to figure out what was still out there and understand like what were things like before European influences. Oh, the chokecherry blossoms.
Oh, they smell so good.
Yeah.
It's incredible. My mom talked a lot about our Indigenous background because her father spoke fluent Dakota. She also was very much into being outside, hiking through the woods, planting a garden, and understanding the wild foods all around us. This is so good for you. Not only is it nutritious, but it's you can make a poultice with it, put it on your cuts, and it'll heal it right up. Working at Target was like going to college for me. I never thought I could go to college for a single day. I came from abject poverty. It was a miracle that I even graduated from high school. To have that access to the network of these brilliant business minds at Target was such an incredible experience for me.
Plants, there's so much to plants. It's understanding there's so much Native American agriculture that was happening.
I spent quite a few years to identify what are Indigenous foods, not only looking at the past, but looking at the future. How can we bring this knowledge to where we are right now today? Oh yeah, and some of the ramps. Did you try the ramps? I worked hard to get to the point where I actually formed my own company called the Sioux Chef, which is the play on words using like Lakota Sioux, S-I-O-U-X, that everything just took off.
As I started eating this bison meatball soup and a salad, and he started talking about his vision and about the concept behind the company, I am not exaggerating when I say that I felt electrical currents running through my entire body, the bottoms of my feet into the earth. I felt like my ancestors were there with me.
And then Dana came on and just started help project managing, and that helped out a ton, and we were able to grow so much.
The Sioux Chef business is about uncovering the Indigenous foods of North America. Specifically with the word Sioux, we're talking about Dakota foods, Dakota Lakota foods, and Anishinaabe here in in Minnesota.
Our goal is to be a center point to help create more Indigenous food operations, working directly with tribal communities.
And I've seen over the course of the last year, you have just kept refining and making it better and learning ways to make it more authentic, and you're the specialist now.
Yeah, no, I want to learn more, you know?
Yeah, me too.
Every day, so more better, so
Yeah.
There's just so much great Indigenous produced food coming out of this place right here. It's great that they're able to do this for the community and that they keep the store pretty well stocked with some really good food.
So for some reason, for the first year ever, our Siberian kale, a lot of the plants. So this is definitely a case, I think, with this sort of thing, a greenhouse type protection where it's modern technology. And to the extent it's being applied here, it's being married with traditional values. So the value of stewarding the land that you use to grow the food on for your kids for 7 generations, right?
My mom, her family history is from the Shakopee Mdewakanton. My grandpa, Clem Felix, raised his 10 children here.
I guess I was always kind of curious if like our families knew each other because like being around the same area, so.
Do you live right around here?
Yeah, I actually live like maybe a half mile from here.
Okay.
Diabetes runs rampant throughout Indian country. Like it's just everywhere. So I often like think about that, like if that was kind of like maybe a path that would happen for me or any of my siblings. And I don't know, I kind of credit this farm a lot for like that we're not all diabetic like a lot of our ancestors were. So this is burdock. But burdock, you go to any like really fancy restaurant and they might have burdock root on there and you gotta dig. Like these ones probably go down about a good 2 feet. But those roots are really good. They're just like, almost like a carrot.
What did you grow up eating?
A lot of canned food. I think I'm like one of the last ones from this reservation that remembers Kamats. So that was when the government would give us the box and it'd be like all the mushy stuff and just like the can that just had pork on it, had a little outline of a pig. When you grow up kind of just eating that, it's not a far jump to just like keep eating processed foods. And so like it's kind of a challenge to get people to eat a lot of these like more fresh stuff, but at the same time, the ones that are shifting over are noticing stuff like within like a generation, within their lifetime.
Owamni means the place of swirling waters, beautiful limestone waterfalls with 4 beautiful islands that was much, much more beautiful before colonization, that were incredibly sacred to the Sioux community.
And the other one was the squash because it takes some time and I feel like it's just like a scoop would just be like scoop.
Like maybe smash it down a little bit because you also have to scoop that elk on there.
Yep. We should add some special tacos sometimes just on that special list and just keep kind of, just as we get more and more efficient. We know where all our food's coming from. It's really super hyper local. We purchase from Indigenous producers. We know what's available and we just write our menu around that. So we don't have to deal with everybody else's supply chain issues of trying to get food from all over the country here. Our ancestors are proud tonight because we're doing something different. We're putting health on the table, we're putting culture on the table, and we're putting our stories on the table.
We plan to also insist in helping restaurants like ours open all over North America by other Native people seeking access to their own ancestral foods. So thank you so much.
Returning that Indigenous education is such an important part, but also just being very aware of what's going on with the environment.
Yeah, we think about climate change a lot. Humans sort of have this bizarre thinking. It's like we're on the earth to take whatever we can get from it, and we're here to do, whatever we want. And the fact is that we are of the earth. We were from the earth. We were created by this planet. The earth is literally what we were made from.
We just have to be way smarter with what we're doing with all of this resource that we need to survive, because we're just creating deserts out there, and we have to make some changes. And I think that if we're in tune, we can learn how to at least pivot and to work with this changing world. But we're going to have to be very aware and understand that things are going to be different.